1. Welcome everybody, my name is Mr. Llama, and today I am bringing you a PvP on Entombed Valley. This is going to be Grandmaster's League between Remark, the blue Protoss spawning down in the bottom left corner, and over here in the bottom right corner we do have EGINcontrol, of course part of Team Evil Geniuses, and he is a fellow caster, so it's always nice to have a caster cast your games and such, and you never really want to cast your own games. So that can just seem a little bit egotistical sometimes. People think like that. Though I have had some requests to cast some games just to give my thought process and stuff like that. So I will in the future possibly be casting something, but just from the standpoint of a what am I thinking, how my thought process works throughout the game. I've also gotten some feedback on my casting in terms of spamming and APM, spamming with my mouse, things like that. And I think I just take that off of my play. Of course, you know, being a Zerg Masters player, things like that, I'm whenever I get in the Starcraft game mode, I just want to go, 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 go. But, you know, that's not exactly what you want to do. So it looks like EGINcontrol dropping this gateway over here, as well as Remark. So both players going to open with that gate, of course, you know, very standard. We'll have to see if they take their gases at 14, 15 supply here, generally 15, you'll see that be taken, or if they are going to wait. So okay, Remark going to take, okay, so both players to get their gas at that 14, just 14 to 15, yeah, so right in between there. But yeah, so I also got some feedback from players about saying as much, which I've just said already a couple of times in this cast, so I'm sorry about that, and that's something, of course, that I am trying to focus on working on, just something that, you know, it's just kind of a filler. A lot of people have some sort of filler. Some of them say some say huh, some say things like that. But I need to, I guess, just focus on that and just kind of try and get a little bit more comfortable in my casting. So I appreciate all of the feedback. Please, 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 please feel free to email me or at MrLlamaSC@gmail.com. Tweet me at MrLlamaSC. You can just message me right here on YouTube, things like that, with all of the feedback that you have for the game, because shoot, I want to know. So it looks like both the players going to scout completely wrong, and I guess they thought that there was no close position. I believe this is the close position spawns. If you look over here on the minimap, I think they're actually in the close position spawns. So usually there's like not this or something, but I don't know, maybe there is. So maybe it's just the MLG map where they don't have the close position spawns. So it looks like both players finally going to get their scouts over there. The probe going to sneak into the base, be able to see what's going down. A second gateway going down here for Remark, as well as taking a second gas. And EGINcontrol already has a second gas up way ahead of time, and no additional tech so far. So he is simply working off of this one gateway. And both probes will go down there as the stalkers do pop out. So he is working off simply one gate and two gas, and I'm interested to see what he gets. So he's going to be popping out some sentries, as he is going to need to have those force fields to defend with, and we'll have to see what tech he throws up behind it. Throwing down a late second gateway, and by late, I mean it is just later, and it looks like we're going to have a little skirmish here out in the middle, and EGINcontrol looks like he got the jump on that. His Zealot got the first hit, so he's going to get away with the slightest of victory, and by slightest I mean about 14 HP difference on the whole of the Zealot. In the meantime, we do have a Twilight Council going down here for Remark. So Remark going to go 2-gate Twilight possible. He will add on an additional third gate here fairly soon and go for some sort of blink attack. Yes, there is the blink, and EGINcontrol going for the fast expand. And how fast was that? He threw that down before he even threw down his third gateway. So going for a 2-gate expand here. And that's why he has these sentries out to get this force field. And this is a little bit of a guessing game, I suppose. He did scout out and see his opponent only had that Zealot and Stalker, so there was not an additional third unit in that army composition at the time. So that may have been a little bit helpful for him to see. But wow, I am very surprised to see him taking that fast expansion with not too much knowledge of what's going on. Does he see that Twilight? No, he doesn't even see the Twilight. So did he see the second gas, though? Yes, he did. So he saw 2 gas. So I guess he can assume that it's going to be something along the lines of Blink Stock or something like that. But of course, it could be going for some DT, though I would imagine you'd want slightly earlier gas if you're going for DT. And Remark instead just going to expand behind this. So he goes for a 2-gate blink expand, while his opponent Jeff in control going for the 2-gate expand and then throwing down a 3rd gate and a robotics facility immediately after that. And it looks like there's possibly going to be some aggression here from Mark, as he does have Chrono Boost going down on this blink, but all of his stalkers and all of his units are over here at his natural. So I'm not quite sure if he's going to start pushing out. I would imagine this is the time that he's going to start moving over for attack, and there we go. Nope, just kidding, faked me out. So not going to be pushing for an attack. And there we go, yes. So now he's warping in, so possibly pushing over. Does he have a robotics facility? There it is, finally, as a lot of times you'll want to have the observer there to get some sort of blink up onto like high ground over here, something like that, instead of having to simply push up into your opponent's army. But it looks like there's going to be engagement right here, and will force fields go down? Some nice force fields, but he can simply blink back out of those, so those aren't going to be too effective, and he could also blink forward if he really wished. However, in control does have the army advantage right there, and he has had his Nexus down at his natural for a much longer time. By much longer, I mean his is actually mining while his opponent's is not. So Remark is going to have to start doing some damage. Did he see the expansion? No, he did not. So he does not know that an expansion is quite down yet. I would imagine he would believe there is one, though, as all of this army is sitting right out here just kind of defending this ramp. So he should kind of know that there is some sort of expansion. It looks like Remark now just going to start saturating his expansion of his own, but he is decently far behind in supply now, as EGINcontrol has had this base mining for a while now. They are even on probes, however, so that will allow Remark to catch up fairly soon, as he's going to actually start taking the lead in probes. And we do see Remark also getting down this robotics bay. So is there a robotics bay at all for EGINcontrol? No, there is not. He is simply going for some sort of 2-base timing push, I would imagine, that's going to be pushing out off of this, as generally you want to start teching to Colossus around this time. The person with the most Colossus usually has a greater advantage in these fights. So a lot of times you will see that, but EGINcontrol with such a greater army, especially with those 2 Immortals to take out the Stalkers of his opponent who has gone for Blink Stalker, that is a nice counter there by EGINcontrol, and actually a second robotics facility also going down for Remark. So it looks like he's going to try and just chrono out a lot of Colossus here to join with his army, get some sort of 3-4 Colossus count, and maybe make some push off of that, or just simply have those for defense if EGINcontrol does go for another hit. And getting the second gas now over here at his natural. EGINcontrol. Just kind of slowly building up this army, but I really like the size. I like the composition. I just wish we had seen the robotics bay a little bit sooner. But of course, this is, you can trust him. He probably knows a little bit more about the game than I do. I am simply a Masters, and he is Grandmasters. So a second robotics facility now coming down for him as well. So he's just going to be teching for those slightly later Colossus. But the only issue is that Remark, while he is teching into a lot of Colossus, first off, can't even really support it that well, and he also will have almost no ground army to go up against EGINcontrol's army. So while he will have the Colossus, he will have the faster range. It looks like, yes, as the robotics bay just finishing up now, so he's going to have the faster range by a decent amount of time. He's going to have the Colossus count. Does he have enough on the ground to really support this? Because if EGINcontrol can clean this up fairly well, he can just march his Immortals over to those Colossus, and that will be very, very difficult for Remark to deal with. So now it looks like the observer of EGINcontrol, I thought he was going for some sort of attack. I saw that little clicking right there. And actually possibly going for an attack. No, he's just going to go over here and pick off this supporting pylon, this forward pylon of Remark, which is actually going to supply block him for a tiny amount of time. So he's going to have just a little bit of a supply block right there, and now it looks like EGINcontrol possibly moving out for some sort of engagement. Scouting around here with this probe and going for a third. Yes, that is what I thought he was doing. I wasn't quite sure he was running over there, but just getting a pylon for some warp-in, so a little bit of scouting you can do with that pylon, not scouting, but you can see units coming up here, so you could warp in up there if you wish. And he's going to go ahead and try and take a third, it looks like, while maybe going out for some sort of engagement. And there's the 4 Colossus from Remark, going to have 2 more on the way, and now he has saturated his bases out fairly well. 52 Harvesters right there to the 55 of EGINcontrol. And 4 Colossus, going to have 6 Colossus, so I'd be interested to see if he's going to make some sort of push with this. What are the upgrades like? No upgrades for either player. They don't even have forges out to start upgrading. And Remark dropping down a pylon over here. I wonder if he's going to be gearing up to take a third base right up here after killing off these rocks. or if that's simply just going to be some sort of forward pylon for dropping some units in to get a nice surround on EGINcontrol's army. So he does scout over here. He does see EGINcontrol's army. He sees that there's only 2 Colossus, though 2 more are joining up. However, there are 6 Colossus still here for Remark, and EGINcontrol throwing down his 3rd now. So Remark is going to have to make some sort of move here if he wants to continue to stay in this game, as he does not even have an expansion going up anywhere. And it looks like, here we go, yes, he's going to start pushing out. EGINcontrol does see this army moving out, as he does have his observer out there, so he's going to be able to get in a good position to deal with this. And it is all going to come down to unit micro right here. It looks like Remark has a much larger army, actually, as EGINcontrol seems to... In the army tab, it shows EGINcontrol with the large army, even without the probes. But Remark's army is quite scary, and oh, there's the other units that I was missing. So it looks like there's going to be a nice little engage right here. Remark going to be able to do some decent damage there. EGINcontrol has the better surround, though, or the better concave, I should say. But Remark has so many units on the ground, so many blink stalkers that he's blinking back. Beautiful micro. It looks like he's going to be able to blink up here and start picking off these stalkers one by one, and he should be able to clean up this army. And EGINcontrol is going to be in a lot of trouble now. He has a warpin, but no, it's not going to be enough. GG from EGINcontrol, and that is going to be it. So a nice push right there while his opponent was expanding, while he had a lot invested over here. And despite having that the better concave from EGINcontrol, I would say, the Blink Stalker micro, plus having the additional 2 Colossus in that army to fight with, was just too much damage for EGINcontrol to really handle. So well played there by Remark. A nice little 2-base push after just kind of going around. He scouted his opponent's army with that observer and said, you know what, I think I can win this battle, and he did. So well played. GG, my name's MrLlama. Of course, as I was saying before, if you have any feedback for me, let me know. If you have any replays that you'd like to see casted, feel free to send them to me as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed this cast.